This is Radio Weekly with Alex McMillan. The invention of the radio is credited to many people. In 1901, Guglielmo Marconi made the first transatlantic wireless transmissions. The next step in the advancement of the radio was its commercialization. Reginald Fessenden transmitted the first publicized radio broadcast from Ocean Bluff, Brant Rock, Massachusetts in 1906. In Detroit, Michigan of August 1920, the first news report was aired on the radio by WWJ, a company now under the ownership of the CBS network. A few months later, the station presently known as WRUC aired what is considered to be the first public entertainment broadcast. 1 month later, the same station aired the first broadcast of a sporting event. The radio was growing substantially and was becoming a common technology in every home. World War II started on September 1st, 1939, with the invasion of Poland by Nazi Germany.
Subsequent declarations of war were then made on Germany by some European nations, including Britain and France. However, many countries were already at war before this date. Many who were not initially involved joined the war later, as a result of events such as the German invasion of the Soviet Union, the attacks on Pearl Harbor and the British colonies, and the declarations of war on Japan by the United States. In 1945, the war ended in a victory for the Allies. Most countries fighting in World War II utilized the radio in naval, air, and land combat.
The main role of radios in World War II was communication. Higher-ranking officials used the radio to communicate with their forces from afar. Radios were used in all three types of combat: naval, air, and land.
In World War II, navies relied heavily on radar. This stands for radio detection and ranging. Battleships used their radar technologies to detect other ships in the area. But this technology did have one challenger, the Samos receiver. This device could be used to find any enemy radar activity, and, if the device was connected to an antenna, it could find the source of the radar. But this device wasn't useful in naval combat, as enemies could not board other submarines. Naval forces with radars were extremely beneficial in major battles, including the naval battles of Guadalcanal. The Americans were fighting the Japanese. The Americans obtained the element of surprise when they, using new long-range radars, detected the Japanese first and attacked.
Radios were also extremely important in air combat. Air Force pilots could receive orders about whether to invade airspace or bomb certain areas. They could locate and pinpoint their enemies, attacking them to clear the way for land forces. Also, higher-ranking officials could direct their air forces while sitting in a secure area. Air units such as bombers and fighters relied heavily on radios, such as the E-10K, which was a shortwave radio that was standard in most bomber units, and the S-10K. These were two radios implemented in military aircraft. Though aircraft support was called for on almost all battles, the Battle of Britain was a chief battle fought with a lot of air units. British soldiers rescued from previous battles were exhausted when called upon to fight in the Battle of Britain. After a short rest, the Germans began air attacks in early summer designed to seize a mastery of the skies in preparation for invasion. All that stood between the British and defeat was a small force of RAF pilots, outnumbered in the air 4-1. But the Allies held strong, and Hitler eventually lost interest in the battle and retreated his forces. The use of the radio was evident in the battle, as the commanding officers relayed information to their units and detected enemies. Without the radio, there would be no communication between distances, and everything would have fallen apart. The units were blind to see what was occurring around them. 21-year-old pilot Officer John Beard was a member of a squadron of Hurricanes based near London. They were waiting on the German Luftwaffe units. He related the scene.
Minutes went by. Green fields and roads were now beneath us. I scanned the sky and the horizon for the first glimpse of the Germans. A new vector came through on the RT, and we swung round with the sun behind us. Swift on the heels of this, I heard Yellow Flight Leader call through the earphones. I looked quickly toward Yellow's position, and there they were! The use of radios in the field of land combat was crucial. Infantry units were directed from radio. They received information on the enemy whereabouts and depended solely on the information given by their platoon leader and instructions given across radios. Artillery units also had different radios, such as the MWEC. This was a super compact, high-end medium wave receiver with a constant K crystal filter. It was used in panzer units for communication to officers and other tanks. In this way, tank units could communicate with each other and their leaders. One of the lesser-known battles of World War II was fought by a small yet stubborn force of mostly Australians in the port city of Tobruk in Libya. The battle lasted some 240 days between the Axis forces of Italy and Germany fighting against a stubborn Allied force of Australians defending the port city of Tobruk. Early in 1941, Allied forces were involved in Operation Compass, an attempt to drive the Italian forces out of North Africa. In January, Australian forces captured the port city of Tobruk. Platoons were signaled with a radio truck and 2 or more universal carriers. The radio was crucial in directing the advancing squadrons. During the confusion of ground combat, this highly transportable tool gave instantaneous communication.
The radio greatly affected the warfare and strategy in several major battles in World War II. Land, air, and sea battles were influenced by the use of the radio in the fields of communication and detection. In the naval battle of Guadalcanal, the upper hand was gained by using long-range radar technologies. In the important air battle of Great Britain, the radio was crucial in relaying information and detecting enemies as quick as possible. Likewise, the radio proved to be a prominent factor in land battles. In the 240-day Battle of Tobruk, the efficient communication of the radio organized the otherwise chaotic nature of the land warfare. In types of warfare such as these, the radio was consistently a great aid for military officers to contact their squadrons and all of their exchanges of ideas between ranks. Thank you for watching this week's episode of Radio Weekly. Next week we will continue the series at the same time. Thank you and goodbye.